Factor Aluto Gravel Bike. I got it in the Quattro gray color, which is kind of a nod to the old Audi rally teams. Love the way the color turned out. I've got SRAM Force 1x Explorer 13 speed. It rides unbelievable. Black ink bars, I went with the Zip 303 Explorer SW wheels. They are incredibly wide internally, and they make these 45s look like they're 50s if you compare them to another 45. The Cell Italia saddle, and then I went with Look X-Track pedals. I'll walk you through some of the parts themselves and kind of the decision process and how I ended up with this, because believe me, a ton of research went into why I ended up with this bike specifically.
Let's try that again. I just recorded a whole bit and I was not recording.
What I think I'll do first is talk about why I chose this bike. I kind of had three big metrics that I wanted to hit with the new bike, and I was torn between whether I wanted to go 2-bike quiver or a 1-bike quiver. Ultimately, I obviously ended up with a 1-bike quiver, but I was trying to figure out if I wanted the road and the gravel or just a combination of the two, which that's ultimately what this is going to be. And we'll get into setup and whatnot, but the three requirements that I had when looking for bikes, which you'd be surprised the lack of them: at least 45 mil of tire clearance, integrated handlebar bar stem combo, and internally routed cables. That's just an aesthetics thing, but I have to have it. Universal derailleur hanger. That is mostly a play on the long term of an investment. Every bike eventually I think will be on UDHs. A ton are now, all the gravels are now, outside of Giant for some reason. But pretty much everyone has gone to the UDH, so that's what this has. That's important to the longevity of the frame. If I want to keep the frame and change out parts, upgrade the bike, even though there's not much else I can do to it at this point. But that's a long-term play on kind of holding the bike for a long period of time. This bike met all those requirements. It was pretty fairly priced when comparing it across the market. I kind of narrowed it down to this one, the Orbea Orca, I think it's the Orbea Orca gravel, whatever Orbea's gravel is, and then the Basso Palto. There's obviously a couple bikes that meet this criteria, but there's just some astronomical pricing on bikes, and Factor's certainly not known for being a cheap budget brand, but the Aluto is definitely one of the budgeter friendly bikes. But I didn't really skimp out on parts. I mean, we went with SRAM Force 1x13, which I mentioned. I ended up picking up a set of Zip 303 Explorer super wides, so I'm really happy with the way those look. Cell Italia saddle, I kept my bottle cages. I got the Look SPD X-Track pedals, and then I did get a bike fit, well, a bike sizing fit. So shout out to the guys at Anero in New York. Unbelievable shop, they set me up. But I went with 165 mil cranks. On the bars, I have 38 width. The drops are 42 or 44, and then the stem 120. But super happy with the way it looks, which is a very important part of the bike for me. If your bike looks cool, you're gonna want to ride it more. That's a fact. So yeah, I rode it yesterday for the first time. It rides unbelievably. I mentioned in my last video that I do have a gravel race coming up. It's quite a long one and a lot of climbing, so gonna try to get quite a bit of miles on the legs here in the next 25 days or so. But I'll walk you through some of the specs on the bike. Before I walk you through the specs, I did mention that this is intended to be a 2-for-1. So I do have a road setup that I have coming. I have the black ink wheels that are supposed to come on the bike from Factor. And then I went with 35 mil GP500s. I got new rotors and cassette for that setup, so it should be a quick enough swap between the two setups, and that's the intention. I want to be able to, ride gravel on Saturday and go ride road on Sunday, and it takes 5 minutes to swap. So as I mentioned, I went with the SRAM Force Explorer group set 1x13. It looks absolutely sick. We've got the universal derailleur hanger, and what I mean by this is it actually attaches to the frame. The one thing that I'm going to have to get used to is the 464 group set likes to shift under load, which historically you're not trying to shift under load, you're trying to shift not pedaling as hard as you can. It shifts better when you are pedaling under load. It shifts smoother. So it's something I'm just going to have to learn and adjust to, but it is nice. You can crank through gears going up or down a hill while you're hammering it. For gearing, we've got a 44 up front, and then we've got, I believe it's 1054 in the rear. So it's pretty similar gearing setup to what I actually had on my BMC. I do think I will ultimately go a little larger on the front ring, but we're going to ride the 44 for now, especially with this race coming up and all the climbing. I think the 44 is going to be more than capable, but 165 mil cranks. I don't know that it felt that different. I'm coming off of 172s, so it is a decent jump to go to 165s. I didn't ride a ton in the aero position. It'll be a good test over time on how that feels. I'll get some long rides in the next couple weeks. Went with the Look X-Track carbon pedals. I've got the Arundel bottle cages. Those actually came off of the BMC. I've been happy with those. Haven't dropped any bottles. Celitalia saddle, Superflow. I believe it's 140. Good looking seat post. My favorite part about this bike, ironically, is the seat post clamp. There's no weird bolt under here. It's just right here. And I love the way it looks. I think it looks sick. It's just a nice kind of touch. Round seat post, by the way, so you can install a dropper if you wanted to. I did mention tire clearance is 47 in the rear. We've got a 45 in there now. Again, these wheels are so large internally that it does make these 45s quite a bit wider. Than a 45, it probably measures to a 47 right now. I do think I could go a little bit wider. Obviously the front, I've got room. We've got plenty of room in the front. I think we have up to 52 clearance in the front if I'm not mistaken. So we may run a reverse mullet setup eventually. Mentioned the bars. One piece bar stem. I do still have the full OEM stack in. We may slam it eventually, but I'm gonna ride it with the stack in and then we'll go from there if I need to drop it all. But I went with 38. I'm coming off of 42s. It definitely feels slimmer on the hoods. The drops are plenty wide and quite nice to ride in. I think we definitely need to do a hub check. It's not the loudest hub in the world, but it's got a nice sound to it. I like that it's not too loud. A low grumble. It does have down tube frame storage. It is so unbelievably small, and all the stuff online, there's very few reviews on this bike, by the way. That's partly why I'm doing this. I think Ben Delaney made a video on it, and he was very harsh on the in-frame storage. I was thinking, how bad could it be? It's pretty small. I have spare TPU tube, CO2, and a CO2 head. It's like, that's as much, it's absolutely maxed out. Granted, the CO2 is the mountain bike CO2, so it's a bit bigger. I might swap it for a road CO2, which is smaller in diameter. That's about all I can get in there. Frame size is actually a 54. I'm 6 foot tall. It was very unusual to have a 54, but the idea, and again, shout out to the guys at Anero, I would have absolutely gone 56 had I not gone to them, but the geometry of the 54 was pretty closely suited to the geometry that I had on the BMC, which I was quite comfortable on. So this does suit me quite well for both the road setup and the gravel setup. So very, very happy with the 54. The seat's not too high, I didn't have to crank it up. It's in a nice position, so very, very, very happy with that. Smaller frames look cooler. That about wraps it up. If you guys have any questions on the Aluto, drop a comment, happy to answer. I don't have a ton of riding time on it yet. That will come. I've got a pretty good feel for the bike. Stay tuned for more content on this guy. Thanks for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment, tell me what you want to see. And that's it. Thank you. Love ya. Bye.